friends. Happy Sunday evening. It is your friend Lisa Mason Ziegler, and friends, I will tell you the truth. Is anybody else feeling like these dark, long evenings are endless? I mean, it gets dark here now at like 5:15 or so, and it just makes for really, really long nights, right? And so I got a text a little while ago from Kelly, who heads up our website tech department, and she let me know that Gretel and Steve's course page was up for sale, open, and that got me to look for an article. I don't know if y'all got it. If you Growing for Market, do y'all know what that is? That's the market magazine that every grower should be subscribing to. They have lots of business articles and farming articles and vegetable growing and specific flower articles. Anyway, I had gotten an article last week from them. They sent me an email. It was one of their promotions. It was a free look at this article thing, even though we subscribed to it. Anyway, it was an article written by, I don't want to mess her name up, Rebecca Cutts Rice. She owns Moonshot Farm in New Jersey, and it was just such a great article about flower farming. And what the article was named is half the name got cut off, y'all, but it's like the 5 mistakes to avoid when you're growing in houses. And she's talking about winter growing. And I thought that it was just so suiting when I knew that Gretel and Steve's course was going to be open for enrollment tomorrow, this week, on special. I thought I need to copy out her talking points, so I want to go through what she said the mistakes were that they faced. And because I will tell you that when I was reading this, it's like I don't have houses, but I have taken Steve and Gretel's course. You know, I've read it and gone through it. I thought they talk about all these things. How perfect is this, right? So Rebecca lists the 5 mistakes and what they suffered from, and then how they've moved forward and are overcoming that, right? And so you might be able to find this article if you go for growingformarket.com. And if you subscribe, of course, you can just search the archives. But it was really well written, and I really enjoyed it. So mistake number 1, it was relying solely on beneficial insects for pest control. So funny that, so Steve and Gretel's course has 6 classes. A class has got like a bunch of different sessions. Their 6th class number 6, is about pests and diseases. And they said they put that one at the end of their course because it is a lot to wrap your head around. And so what she wrote was that she lost their entire crop of freesia, over 3,000 plants, due to gladiola thrips, and our ranunculus were coated in black bean aphids. Sorry, y'all, I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading the right names. And it was such a deja vu when I was reading her list, because one of the things that both Steve and Gretel, you know, they work with a lot of the different universities. They're very science-based, and they talk a lot about scouting and keeping ahead of all of the pest issues, because they said, you know, what typically happens, why they put the class as class number 6 in the lineup. They said that most people don't often face some of the really bad pest and disease issues in year 1 or year 2. It really depends on where you are, what you're growing, and what your conditions are, right? Because it sounded to me like Rebecca, they got it in their very first year. So what Steve and Gretel talk about is patrolling, monitoring, doing release of beneficial insects. And what Rebecca goes on to talk about, which I didn't copy this down from what she wrote, is that they released beneficials, but it didn't do the job, whether it was too late or their infestation was too much. Anyway, Steve and Gretel's class is so comprehensive and so in-depth that actually when I saw her number one mistake, I thought, oh my gosh, this is like Steve and Gretel's course answers all these questions to help you avoid these mistakes. So let's look at the rest of the mistakes. So mistake number 2 is poor airflow. I know that they talk a lot about ventilation, which you don't even think about that until you have your first house up, right? And she wrote that cool, wet, low light conditions are ideal for fungal diseases to thrive. I mean, who knew, right? In year 1, we weren't expecting to battle bad diseases and didn't proactively manage them. We learned the hard way. Our ranunculus crop was overtaken early on by powdery mildew. And so I'm just going to stop right here for just a minute to say that Steve and Gretel's course, we're offering it throughout this week at the legacy price, which is we're having a price increase on all of our courses next Saturday, November 18th, because we have just done a lot of updating on our courses, making them more as tools to be useful, keywords searchable, so forth and so on. How much do you think losing an entire ranunculus crop costs? You know, I mean, it's like I'm the numbers person, and I always think, so how much do I have to sell to pay for this or that? But when you start talking about avoiding mistakes and losses, y'all, it is really, really big losses when you're talking about planting some of these bulb crops that you don't get a second chance. You know, they're not perennials. It's not like, okay, you screwed up your peonies this year, but those roots are going to regrow next year. So reading that they lost their entire ranunculus crop, it's just, to me, it's just like a no-brainer. So what was the number 3 mistake that she said that they faced? And that was unsold stems. And because when you start growing in structures, it costs more to grow than it does out in the field, right? So the profit margins can be tighter there, although it can be some of the highest margins when everything goes as planned, right? And what they found to be really, really, and I've heard Gretel and Steve talk about this, is you need to be able to sell all the stems you're growing, right? So that is something things that you just don't even really think about. And this is one that I have heard firsthand from people talking about. Number 4 mistake is growing cheap flowers. And again, y'all, I am referencing a great article that I read in Growing for Market, written by Rebecca of Moonshot Farm in New Jersey. And she talks about the top 5 mistakes you want to avoid, particularly in winter flower farming, because they're growing in houses. And I'm talking about how Steve and Gretel's course, growing cut flower crops in hoop and greenhouses, just answers all of these questions and these challenges that she was up against. And I just had to come on here and share. It's a great article. It is super well read. And you'll find it over at growingformarket.com if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, I got an email actually that it was a free article, like a marketing thing. So you might be able to actually find it on their website, that even if you don't subscribe yet, which I highly recommend it, you can actually get to it. So she says the mistake number 4 is growing cheap flowers. And that's one of the things that Steve and Gretel really addressed throughout their entire course, is picking the right crops. Steve and Gretel grow in 18, soon to be 19 structures. They're in Ohio, Zone 6. And they have a lot of experience in this, and have kind of, like, as Gretel will tell you, and by the way, Gretel and I will be live here on Instagram 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow on Monday. What is tomorrow? What is today? I don't even know what today's date is, y'all. I think tomorrow's the 11th. I think today's the 11th. Tomorrow's the 12th. So she says, in year 1, we grew lots of what we saw other farmers growing in heated greenhouses like stock and freesia, without considering return per square foot of limited greenhouse space. I will tell you that Gretel there is a small portion of the course where she shares about how they do enterprise budgets for crops to actually avoid this very thing. Enterprise budgets are incredibly useful, and Steve and Gretel started doing that probably about 10 years ago when they realized, they were spending a lot of money on getting crop bulbs and things in and buying structures and keeping them low heated. And they started doing these incredible enterprise budgets. Actually, the first time I ever heard them speak at a conference, that's what they were talking about. And so you will get guidance on that and their recommendation of how to learn more. So figuring out our total profits per square foot per month has been critical in making winter growing work for us. So Rebecca is growing throughout the winter, and Gretel and Steve aren't harvesting, to my recollection, in December, January, and February. I think it starts in March, and their last harvest ends in November. And so they're not growing throughout winter, but you are still doing low heat in those houses to keep your crops maintained that are planted. So it is really critical, right? Because the bottom line is your profit margin. And so they go in that also. They also, she said mistake number 5, which I know that just throughout the course they talk about the monitoring your houses, is leaving town before a cold snap. And she went on to talk about how they took a winter vacation, and while they were sitting on the tarmac, they got an alert on their phone from their greenhouses about critical temperatures. But fortunately, they had somebody that could step in, like I think she had a farm manager. But there's so much more to growing in houses than what someone like, I have no houses. I can't have houses. I live in the middle of the city, my little urban farm here in the city. And so it's so surprising to me how many additional factors when you grow in houses become an issue or a challenge. They're actually the things that help you grow. I mean, it's the whole benefit of growing in houses, right? It's a controlled climate. Well, guess who's controlling it? You. I mean, that's the scary part, right? So anyway, I just thought that would be a great article for anybody that's considering houses or have houses. That Growing for Market article was really wonderful. But I want to tell you that it wasn't open until tomorrow, but actually it's already been put up. Steve and Gretel's course, Growing Cut Flower Crops in Hoop and Greenhouses, is registering this week. It's just opened up. It hasn't been open since last year at this time. And it's an incredible course. It is so jam-packed with everything. We hear from students that even those people, because of their planning tools in this course, that even if you're not growing in structures yet, or if you're not going to grow in structures like me, that it's beneficial to you. But I just wanted to give you the headliners from each of the class. So first I wanted to tell you this. The whole course has 6 classes, which include 51 sessions. It has searchable, frequently asked questions. And that means you have keyword searchable, and that's also for within the course. So let's just say you're facing ranunculus right now. You can go into your phone app, which our online courses have a phone app. You can go in, just like the little hourglass that you see everywhere for the search, and type in your keyword, and it brings up everywhere that word is mentioned in that course for you to find that. And the handouts are amazing. And dadgummit, I left them in the house. The bonus that we are giving you this week with this course, we'll have it tomorrow. The bonus that we're giving you, Gretel has, and I'm going to guess, I think there's 10 or 11 handouts, PDF handouts of lists of things. her favorite ranunculus, their favorite lilies, as well as, the tip sheets, bed cheat sheets for actually how many plants for whatever size bed, for whatever spacing that you're looking to do. The best. We actually put them all together in a library that you get them, and that's only available when the course is purchased this week, and I'll have those to show to you tomorrow when Gretel and I do that live tomorrow. So shoot, I can't believe I forgot to bring that out here. I was talking earlier, these evenings are getting so long, y'all, so long and dark. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out there and do a live and let everybody know that registration is open. So what I'm looking at is you could go right to the website, thegardenersworkshop.com, and go to their course, and you can actually look at the syllabus, which is just basically the table of contents, y'all. So class 1 is about structure types, location, deconstruction, and construction. You know what that means, deconstruction and construction? So you know how you see it all the time. People say, you can buy a used hoop house, or greenhouse, right? You need to be the person to take that house apart if you are ever going to get it back together again. They talk about the different types of structures, which one might be better for you. They live in a heavy snow load. They've actually lost houses to snow back when they were first starting. As I said, they'll tell you they have learned from a bunch of mistakes, which is what makes them such great teachers. Steve and Gretel, Sunny Meadows, Flower Farm, if you don't follow them on social media, their posts are phenomenal. Their videos, you can really see everything that's going on. They do field grow as well as grow in 18 structures. But they go through everything, the difference in the structures, where you should locate. They go through the whole thing. So that's just class 1. Class 2 is creating a successful plan of action. Crop planning, sales outlets, and seed starting. And we just heard Rebecca say in her article that you got to know where you're going to sell your crops. You have to have buyers, and you have to plan things out. And it doesn't matter where you live. They give you the tools to apply to where you are. So that is class 2. So week 3 is spring blooms, both heated and unheated production. So they have both types of houses. They have hoop houses, which typically don't have any heat whatsoever, right? And they have heated houses. This is the week of those crops that everybody wants to learn about, ranunculus and anemones, right? As well as many, many others. I'm just looking down the list. That's about growing snapdragon, stock, dusty miller, poppies, delphiniums, sweet peas, and their early sunflower trials. So that is week 3. Week 4 is about growing Lysianthus, and that's why they told me they have purchased a 19th structure, and it's actually a multiple bay. That's like a bunch of greenhouses pushed together, because they just grow so much Lysianthus. Y'all have to go to their Instagram feed and scroll back through. The Lysianthus that they grow is absolutely amazing in there. So it's Lysianthus seeds, plugs, and ordering, potting up, transplanting, and netting, Lysianthus harvesting and bunching, as well as lilies, program lilies, growing eucalyptus, begonias, heirloom chrysanthemums, dahlias, and post-frost flowers. Y'all, we're only on week 4. This course is phenomenal. And let me just stop and say now that, with all of our online courses, you have unlimited lifetime access to them. This is not something you have to cram and learn. This is a tool to go in your toolbox that you're going to be referring back to for years to come. All right, week 5, caring for the plant's environment. This is where you're talking about humidity, and setting up the greenhouse for maximum space and timing, irrigation, netting, cover cropping, resting the beds, maintenance and ventilation, dealing with the elements, sanitation, which is huge, y'all, and what they've learned through the years on humidity and venting their houses. And then the one I started out talking about in the beginning, class 6 or week 6, is pests, disease, and soil management. And I want to just tell you, there are so many handouts in this class. And what we recommend with all of our big schools is that people just go in and print out all the handouts and get yourself a notebook. And so you can actually take notes. So this one is going through botrytis, Phytophthora, I never can say that right, downy mildew, powdery mildew, pests of aphids and fungus gnats and white flies, scale, mealybugs, thrips, cabbage loppers, cutworms, slugs. Our worst weeds and weed cultivation, chickweed, and they just go on IPM, scouting and using beneficial insects, spraying with organic practices in mind, soil tests and amendments, and soil steaming for disease and weed management. So they also have a bonus webinar that's in their course called Strategies for Developing Customer Relationships. Because friends, as Rebecca referenced in her 5 top mistakes that she felt like they faced, is you've got to be able to sell. You got to find your market, right? It all rolls together. So I just wanted, first off, I was sitting inside thinking, what another long evening. And I thought, I'm just going to come out here and let you guys know that the course is available. It's $595. We are having all of our Flower Farming School online courses, mine, Dave's, and Steve Gretel's, is having a price increase this coming Saturday when this special week of enrollment goes off. They're going up $100 each. We have spent a lot of time enhancing and doing innovation within our courses. We had one employee that spent 1 year time stamping all of our course materials so that they're all keyword searchable. And that takes them from a class that you have to sit down and watch to something that you can plug in a keyword of what you're facing right now and find the answers to it. It's really pretty amazing. And you can listen to all of our courses on your phone app as podcasts, which is the way I listen. Oh my goodness, y'all. This is what you do while you're driving down the road going to deliver. You're harvesting, you're starting seeds, listening to the courses over and over. I will tell you that Steve Gretel's course is probably the most packed with just great information that you're going to want to reference back. You don't want to memorize this stuff, right? So the course is on sale. You can find it at thegardenersworkshop.com. We'll be talking about it. Steve Gretel and I will be doing a live tomorrow. Please bring your specific questions for her. We will be answering those, and we'll be talking about the course and how you can miss some of the potholes of growing in structures. If you are thinking about structures or already growing in structures, this is a no-brainer, y'all. Where you want to locate. We hear from so many people that have placed their structures in places where they get flooded. You know what I mean? They go through everything. Where's the best location, the things that you should look at, the suppliers of everything they talk about. They give you all of those resources in the course. Steve Gretel, just like me and Dave, and actually all of us, Jenny and Ellen and Amelia and all of our instructors, people taught us, and we have teacher hearts, and we need more professional flower farmers, y'all. Why do you think Steve Gretel add more and more structures every year? Why growers are growing more? Because the cut flower industry continues to grow, and we, with a market of 80% of flowers being imported into this country, a market that is billions of dollars. They say it's $7 to $8 billion a year in the United States in cut flowers now, and that is anticipated to be $12 billion by 2025. So there's no ceiling. What's missing is professional cut flower growers, people that are learning how to be professionals, grow professional quality, know how to find the buyers, reach out to the buyers, make your flowers available and easy to purchase. And Steve and Gretel have a really strong drive to give back because they have just been shepherded by so many industry leaders. And so it's a great course. You'll find it at thegardenersworkshop.com. And check us out this week. Gretel is also doing Ask a Flower Farmer this Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And I'm sorry, not 1 o'clock, 12:30. She and I are tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Wednesdays at 12:30, and then we'll be over on YouTube, I think on Thursday, but we'll be talking about that. So friends, this is your opportunity that we're going into the season now where we're not harvesting, so it's time to really get down on the education. And that was kind of where I was on these long, dark nights. That's exactly what I was doing, going through my emails. I get lots of information emails from people, and that Growing for Market article that I got from Andrew was one of those, with Rebecca of Moonshot Farm talking about the 5 challenges that she faced when she began growing, all of which are addressed in Steve and Gretel's course on how to avoid them and overcome them, and so much more. So I invite you to go to thegardenersworkshop.com, go to Steve and Gretel's course, look at the syllabus. It's right at the top of the page. It says view the course. It opens up and it has everything in there you're going to get, friends. And as I mentioned, it is unlimited access, meaning you can watch stuff as much as you want, and as long as you have access to internet, you can log in to your library and your course is going to be right there. There is a Facebook community, private, closed Facebook, with your community, with all of your fellow students, which is where a lot of the support comes from each other. And we just love to have you join it with us. So we'll be coming back to you later this week. And I hope everybody has a great week. And boy, these nights are getting long, y'all. So now's the time to get down on our education, which is what I'm also doing. All right, friends, until we meet again here, I'm just looking through to make sure nobody's asked me a question. Great course. Oh, hey, friend, years after taking the course, I still refer back to it for the information. So that is my good friend, Janice Harris in Canada. Janice and I became really great friends through the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers. We were both on the board. And that's where all of us really met. That's where Dave and I met, where Steve and Gretel and I met. Ellen, that's where I met her, and Jenny Love. This kind of the professional group where the pros go to learn and get educated, support each other. And anyway, so Janice has structure. She's growing up there in Canada. And thank you, Janice, for saying that. And so I'm just looking back, y'all. So thank you guys for joining me. Please let your friends know, especially. And so there's Buck Naked Farm, North Carolina. I took their course, loved it. So please let your friends know. So we are still, this is the last week of the legacy price of our courses. Right now, they're $595 a piece. They have, 20 and 30 hours of actual teaching sessions, thousands cumulatively. I know my course has over 2,000 frequently asked questions that are keyword time stamped, so you can find them. And so we just feel like the value is unmatchable, and we've just trying to make them more and more usable for our classes. Yes, I am up late, Janice. So friends, thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow when Gretel and I are at 1 o'clock. Please bring your questions, and I think you'll be very, very impressed with the depth of knowledge and experience that Steve and Gretel have. And y'all, just like the rest of our instructors, they spill all the beans. So till we meet again, friends, check it out, thegardenersworkshop.com. Ciao.